Hi guys, good morning. Today I come with a new topic and that is force. In card over for grade 8 topic I have come, but inside this something more is there for grade 9 and 10. So let us go into the topic. And first is what is force in physics? Actually, before going deep into the topic, I want to say a simple sentence. A force means a push or a pull of an object. So let's think. In physics, a force is any interaction that, when unopposed, will change the motion of an object. A force can cause an object with mass to change its velocity, which includes to begin moving from a state of rest. Example, to accelerate. Force can also be described intuitively as a push or a pull, as I said before. The force has both magnitude and direction, making it a vector quantity. This force is measured in the SI unit of newtons, and this force is represented by a symbol, and that capital letter symbol is F. Now let's go into types of force. And there are forces of two categories, and the one is contact force and the next is action at a distance forces or non-contact force. So first let us go into contact forces. So what is a contact force? These are forces when two objects interact with each other. They have a physical contact with each other. Types of contact forces. Yeah, frictional force, tensional force, normal force, air resistance force, and etc. many more. So we can go into frictional force. As an object moves across a surface, it causes friction. Friction forces can be sliding or static. Friction depends upon the nature of the two interacting surfaces. So read the example for yourself. And next we can go into tension force. A force that is transmitted through a string, rope, cable, or wire when it is pulled tightly by the object. On the opposite end is a tension force. This force flows across the length of the wire or rope. Example, a cable car or climbing a mountain using a rope. These are some examples of tension force. And friction force examples are a book sliding on the table and a ball rolling on the floor. And the next is normal force. This is the force exerted upon an object that is in contact with another stable object. Usually, a normal force is applied horizontally between two objects in contact. For example, a book resting on a table or a person leaning on the wall. Air resistance force. This is the frictional force applied on objects when they are in air. Often the air resistance force opposes the movement of the object. It is noticeable for objects that travel at a high speed up in the air. So, for example, is an aeroplane or a parachute or an helicopter. So, the next is applied force, a force with which an object has been pushed or pulled. Here, a force is applied to an object by a person or any other object. And that example is a person pushing a chair to the other side of the room. Think if you are doing that. And the next is spring force. This is the last force of contact force that we are discussing today. And it is a force which results when a spring is stretched or compressed. A spring is a metal elastic device that turns to its original form when pulled or pressed. Same like that if you don't have a spring in your home. Just check it with a rubber band. If the spring is stretched, spring force is attractive. If it is compressed, spring force is, of course, repulsive. For example, trampoline and diving board, and many more others. The next is what is an action at a distance force or non-contact force. And these types of forces happen when two interactive objects are not in physical contact with each other, yet they are able to push or pull. Types of action at a distant forces are gravitational force, electrical force, and a magnetic forces. One more force is there, that's electrostatic force. And we can think about gravitational force. This is the force by which the earth or moon or other massively huge objects attract another objects toward them. All objects on the earth experience the gravitational force, which is directed downwards towards the center of the earth. The force of gravity is always equal to the weight of the object. Electrical force. It is one of the fundamental forces of the universe. It is a force that exists between all charged particles. It is on all around us. It is responsible for making our head stand on cold air. When the hair on the head stands and refuses to be brushed, this is static energy. It is this force which allows you to see when you turn on the lamp in a dark room. And the last of today is magnetic force. This is a force exerted by a magnet. I'll just zoom it up. So it's a push or pull exerted by a magnet. The force of attraction between an object and a magnet is called magnetism. All magnets have north and south poles. This force is the attraction or repulsion that arises between electrically charged particles due to their motion. Example: iron is when placed near a magnet attract to it. That's a magnetic force. So one more thing that I told you, that's electrostatic force. The main example of this force is that I'll say an example. With that example, you may understand what is an electrostatic force. No need for much what I say explanation. Okay. So electrostatic force. You know a comb, right? Take a comb and take some papers. Just tear a part of it with small pieces and put it down. Take your comb, charge it in your hair. That means just comb on your hair. Then just place over here. The paper gets attracted. This is because this charge of air of the device. This happens, once more you think, this happens because of the charge of the object. And when we do, like, not only this stationary, not only this combs and many more other for the electrostatic force, that's over distance about 1/10 the diameter of an atom of an atomic nucleus, or 10 to 16 m. You can see this. See, like charges repel one another while unlike charges attract one another. For example, two positively charged protons repel each other, as do two cations, two negatively charged electrons, or two anions. So we can just paste in our this thing, control V. See. So what is electrostatic force also you understood. So bye and have a nice day.